No rules. No rules. No taboo topics. No taboo topics. No fear of doom. No fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Yeah, baby, I tell you, that is so true. A big cup of coffee and a little bit of reefer, put them together, and your day kicks off. And as I've said before, the only thing that makes that moment better is to share it with a friend. And we have a new friend here at Time for Hemp, and it is an honor to have Michelle Rainey join us here. And I agree with her. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a first step. That first step between Michelle and I took place last week as we reached out to one another and seeking to help make the marijuana voice louder. I asked her to be a guest on my show, and she was so nice to say she would be willing to take Time for Hemp. Thank you, Michelle.
Casper, it is an honor and a pleasure to be on your show. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and thank you very much.
Well, I mean, that's heartfelt. You are a tremendous activist. You've been working hard in the marijuana movement. You've been in the marijuana movement a while now. You're not new to this. When did you start getting involved in trying to raise a voice and teach people the truth about this wonderful plant?
1999.
And what drove you into it?
I had the privilege of meeting Mr. Mark Emery, who happened to be a client at the bank I worked for. I had a 10-year professional bank career, and I had watched him on the news quite a few times being thrown out of Vancouver for his various...
That had to be quite a thrilling experience. You've had Mark on the show. He's a charismatic individual.
Is he ever? Once we met, about a year later, he offered me a position in his organization. And from there, I was able to advocate as well as work my little buns off to end cannabis prohibition. And one of the biggest reasons, of course, was I have Crohn's disease, and marijuana saved my life.
Wow, that's got to be quite a thing to contend with. Now, how does marijuana help you with your Crohn's disease?
Well, I'll start from the beginning, a real quick background of it. I was diagnosed when I was 16 years old, and that was back in about 1986, just before high school graduation. A very, very difficult time. There was no known cause, no known cure for Crohn's disease, and we didn't have the World Wide Web as we do now for information and resources. I succumbed to 2 surgeries, very painful surgeries, also a multitude of pharmaceuticals that overtook my body. And I was deteriorating at a rapid rate, but at the same time I was still trying to maintain a career in banking. Then a dear friend of mine suggested to me when I was 22 years old to try some marijuana. Now, during high school, I had not participated that often with cannabis. I was a type A personality and worked every single day after school. My mother was a single parent raising me as my father had passed away when I was young. So it was important to me to contribute to my mother and my family. But at the same time, I was very honored to have, like I said, a dear friend suggest maybe some cannabis would alleviate some of the symptoms I was having with Crohn's. The nausea was terrible, and so was the pain. And taking Ativan, lorazepam, Tylenol 3, Demerol, morphine, just wasn't giving Michelle Rainey the ability to function every day.
And didn't that kind of a chemistry set, a combination, have a lot of side effects that were overwhelming?
Overwhelming to the point where I lost 2 days. Completely lost 2 days. Had no memory of what happened for 2 days. That terrified me, and it was at that moment I realized I cannot be taking these ever again.
And when you smoked marijuana, was there an immediate change in your feeling and ability to deal with Crohn's disease, or was it a slow process?
It alleviated my nausea immediately. I was able to eat, and I didn't find myself having the terrible cramping that comes with having Crohn's disease. I have chronic diarrhea, and I will have that for the rest of my life. And I have no problem with that, trust me. I carry my Huggies baby wipes wherever I go. And if I could get I love the fact that apparently in Europe and Japan there are bidets everywhere. I need
That's
one.
Great.
Trust me on that one. I'll have to write a book someday on all the potty stories. I know where all the clean toilets are all over Canada.
Okay.
But yes, no, it's a situation, Crohn's disease, you have to look at it with humor. You really do, because what goes into your body wants to come out very quickly. And it's almost like, how could I compare it? I met a bunch of physicists who told me we can digest small particles of glass, but apparently digesting nails is even more painful. So I use that as an example. Picture yourself eating a bunch of nails, having it go through your system. It chops everything up completely.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. And marijuana helps with that then?
Marijuana has enabled me to be Michelle Rainey again.
Oh,
to be outgoing, to be the person I've always been. That's the workaholic as well as the compassionate caregiver. And at the same time, I can function. I can go to work. I don't feel like I need to pass out and fall asleep. I don't feel like I'm going to lose a day. I don't feel delirious.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. And so you started telling people about the medical aspects of marijuana then around that time, I suppose. You didn't keep quiet about it, did you?
Well, I did for a little while, because you have to imagine when you all of a sudden quit a 10-year bank career and you start working for the Prince of Pot, that you have to ease into that. My family, friends, community had no idea for the first, about year to 6 months what I was up to. And it was a huge transition time. I mean, you have to look at the fact I was taking a big risk, a huge risk, a risk that I'm very proud of, extremely proud of. And when I came into Mark's life, he had just been thrown out of Vancouver with his bookstore and hemp store at the time in 1999. He had come to the Sunshine Coast to seek refuge, a peninsula in British Columbia, and he started Pot TV. Right at the beginning stages.
Pot TV played some Time for Hemp's videos and was real helpful in getting marijuana's voice raised there with the Time for Hemp video series. I want to thank you, Chris Bennett. So, yeah.
Well, I had the honor of hiring Chris Bennett and firing the original person that Mark had working for him at Pot TV. And I'm very, very proud of Chris. He is a mentor to me, someone that gave me such insight and history into cannabis. And there's so many people. I mean, God, Mark Emery, of course. I mean, the Prince of Pot gave me a fantastic education, but there were many others, too. Richard Cowan, who had previously been a director of Normal. David Malmo Levine. I mean, historians that have dedicated many, many years into ending cannabis prohibition, but doing it with education. And that's extremely important. People need to understand, and none of us.
And it's weird. I feel like I got a twin here because, Jack Harry was like the Prince of Pot in America, only he didn't get drug off and thrown into jail. I got to go to work for him. And a lot of the people that you've just mentioned have either been a guest on the show or one of my mentors or friends. It's amazing. We've traveled in the same circles for so long.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm so honored to talk to you, Casper. I really am. There's so many fabulous things that all of us are doing, but at the same time, there is a lot of sadness right now. I mean, Eddie Lepp is in jail. Mark Emery is sitting not but 15 minutes away from my home in jail. And I can't do anything to aid him except call our justice minister and talk about it and express to all of you, we have got to end cannabis prohibition. This is a travesty beyond belief. I cannot believe the hundreds of thousands of people who have gone to jail over the years, who have suffered the dire consequences emotionally, physically, family-wise, financially.
Exactly. And I've had, as you know, we've had Mark on and Eddie Lepp on. We're going to be having Linda either on the live broadcast if we can work it, or certainly on the pre-recorded Time for Hemp podcast that we release each week through iTunes and our website. And that's why we ask people, Michelle, to reach out and love into their communities, because one thing that we know for a fact from being involved in the marijuana movement, as the individuals will tell us in this musical break, that weed really does help. So why don't we kick back, Michelle, and fire up a really groovy bowl and jam out to some great tunes here at Time for Hemp.